Welcome to the Know Your Legacy podcast. I'm your host, Vipul Vasanya, and today's episode is going to be me talking about the 5 legendary quotes that I tend to live by and that I tend to follow and remember and recite every single day, every single week, every other day. And I want to share with you guys basically to give you an insight into this sort of stuff that I try to remember, sort of stuff that influences me and the things that I find most important when looking at meaning in quotes. So to start with number 1, basically, first one is by Waldo Emerson, who was a great American writer, and it goes by the saying that don't go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Now, what does this mean? It basically means that don't follow the well-trodden path. Don't go in the direction that everyone else has gone before you. Don't go in the same place or down the same career path or the same sort of relationship or the same sort of family life or the same sort of personal life or personal experiences in the same way that other people have gone about them. Go about it in a different way. Strike out your own path, strike out your own direction in life, and let other people follow your lead if they find what you're doing is important. Because at the end of the day, you live here for a short amount of time. So instead of following another path that's been carved out already, create a new one and leave a trail so someone else can follow in your footsteps should they want to follow and do something as similar like you. Second one is by a poet called Rumi, the 13th century poet. And he wrote a lot of poetry that is still around in parts of the world today. Very, very popular when it comes to quotes. And one of the quotes that I like of his is, "There is a voice that doesn't use words. Listen." And what does that mean? It means that deep down, each of us has a gut feeling, I like to call it. I mean, it's you can call it many things: intuition, gut feeling, inner voice. And essentially it's that inner guidance that we all have. You can call it spiritual guidance. It's guidance that we all have to give us direction in our lives. And I think each of us have been given a separate guidance, a separate voice to follow. And you've been in a position where you haven't followed that voice and you thought, damn, if only I'd listened to myself. Or why didn't I listen to myself? I thought about this before. And the thing is, each of us have been given that voice for a reason, because it is guiding us to where we need to go. And sometimes in this hustle and bustle and in this busy life, especially if you live in a city like London, it can be busy. You tend to forget that voice because you're so busy doing activity that you have no time for silence. And we need to give ourselves some time for silence to be able to actually understand, listen, and interpret what that voice is saying. Now, what is the third quote? The third quote is by, who's it by now? Give me a second. I've forgotten who it's by. Right, Howard Therman, that's it. Howard Therman, who's an American author and a civil rights activist, basically said, don't look to do what the world needs. Look instead to do what makes you come alive, because the world needs more people who come alive. Now, what does that mean? That means follow your dreams, following your passion. And it's not putting it in the cliche way of, dream big or chase your dreams. That's all fine. We've all heard that before. But coming alive is a completely different feeling, because there's a difference between living and existing. Most of us are just existing because we're just going through the daily routine of doing what we need to do to get through to the end of the day or get through to the weekend or pay the bills at the end of the month. And the quote that I've just read to you basically says, find out what makes you come alive. Don't do what the world is expecting you to do. To go to school, get a job, pay the bills, raise a family, be a good boy or a good girl, stay within the boxes. Don't do that. Do what makes you come alive, because the world needs to see more people who come alive, because it's almost like a domino effect. If one person does it, it'll inspire the next and the next and the next. So what's the fourth quote? The fourth quote that I like to live by is by Rohn, which says, your life is either a warning or an example. Very, very simple, very simple. But at the end of the day, the way that you've lived your life and the way that you are currently living your life is serving either as a warning or an example to those around you, to your friends and to your family, and even to yourself. Think about the actions and the decisions that you're making on a day-to-day basis. Would people years from now look back and think, wow, this person actually inspired change, this person actually made a difference, this person actually made me think twice? Or would they say, this is the person that I need to avoid, this is an example of how not to live my life? What are you doing? What habits have you got? What conversations are you having with people? What ideas are you spreading? Think about those things. Now, finally, what's the last and final quote, legendary quote that I live by? And that is by Mother Teresa, which says, I cannot change the world. I can cast a stone across the waters and create many ripples. What does that mean? To me, that means that she cannot alone make a global impact, a global life-changing impact for generations to come. What she can do is be a spark that lights the fire for many generations to come. And as I said in the previous quote, it will serve as an example of how one person can create change and create change and spread inspiration, so that other people can start doing the same thing, and that other people can follow with a similar mindset and in a similar shape. So if you think that what you're doing is not enough, or that, you know, it's just me, I'm only one person, what can I do to really change the world? You can, because you can create a movement. Like I'm talking to you through camera right now, and this could easily go viral. You have YouTube videos that go viral. That creates a movement. That creates an image. That creates a message for people. And that only starts with one person. Every idea that you have around you, the phone, the laptop, the camera, t-shirt, everything that you've got around you started as an idea from one person. And so you can create change. It just starts from understanding that it all comes down to the message that you have to share and the fact that you believe in that message. And if you're willing to put time and effort into sharing that message, like Mother Teresa did across all of India. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. I hope you've taken something away from this. If you're listening on the podcast right now, then I hope that you enjoyed this message. Listen back, go back, listen to the quotes again. I'm going to put it all in the show notes or in the YouTube description, whichever you're listening or watching to. And until next time, guys, remember, you're only one decision away from becoming a legend.